Hello and welcome to the Chatty Chat podcast, an offshoot of the Cash vs. Trash podcast. I am Rob. I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host,
Demi.
Yes, we are married and we love movies and TV shows and all sorts of media, and we're here to talk about it.
That's right. Today we're talking about westerns because for our for our genre month, we went with westerns.
Yeah, and
we did our bonus episodes on them.
Yes, and we're doing a Patreon exclusive audio commentary track for the Magnificent Seven remake with Denzel and Chris Pratt.
Yep.
And that'll be coming out at some point.
Yeah.
Before then, for free, to give a sample of what it'll be like, we're doing a Zombieland one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be good. But before we get into that, a bit of housekeeping. A month ago, we did an episode on franchises that had peaked with the first movie. Mm-hmm. And I cannot believe that we forgot Tremors.
I don't really remember those movies, so...
Okay. The first one is fucking fantastic. It's one of my favorite movies. I can't remember. I don't think it's on my list of favorite movies, but it's right up there.
Yeah.
I really, really like that movie. And then the second movie that came out like a decade later is a distinct step down.
Yeah, so I think I remember the first one. I don't know if you showed me any of the others.
I think we watched it.
Or maybe we watched the first and second.
I think we watched the first three. Or maybe we watched the first one and you're like, this is pretty good. And we watched the second one and you're like, that's enough.
Yeah.
Because then it's like the first one, then the second one, it's still pretty good. And then the third one is down here. And then the fourth one is kind of a return to form. It's a prequel. Mm. And then after that, it's, oh boy, it's bad.
There's more than 4?
They brought it back way, like years later after 4. And they go to South Africa. Mm-hmm. And there's like a whole different breed of graboids. And it's bad.
Okay. Well, the first one was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a little bit of housekeeping there. And iconic action movie stars. And we didn't talk about this guy right here for our video watchers. Sorry, audio listeners. But I'm talking about Michael Scarn, who's on our poster.
The only poster we have so far.
Our lonely little poster. We've got more coming. But yeah.
Michael Scarn.
Mm. Everybody do the Scarn.
What a legend.
Yes. So I can't believe we didn't talk about him. Anyway, on to the show. We were going to talk a lot about how samurai films affected Westerns. But 2 things. We had some technical difficulties. This is, I'm pointing at our normal laptop. We're recording onto it today instead of the one that I had set up because it couldn't handle 2 microphones, apparently.
Yeah, it's old. And
yes.
By old, I mean like maybe 6 years old.
Yeah.
Laptops don't last long.
Yeah, so we normally record onto this one, but then I wanted to use it, so we found some of our old ones, and we recorded onto one of those last Chatty Chat, and you might remember... It was loud as fuck. It sounded like we had a fan on. So I was like, all right, that won't do. And got one that was less old. And it couldn't handle it. It just said no.
Yeah.
It just came up with a message and said...
Computer says
something,
no.
Computer says no. Controller cannot operate something. So that's that. So now I don't have a laptop. I have my phone. Also... When I was looking into that, I realized I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Okay.
Even though there is a lot of, like, I know about that stuff with the samurai films and Japanese films influencing Westerns and cowboy films. Mm-hmm. I don't actually know much about that because I haven't seen all but, like, one of those movies.
Okay.
So I was like, rather than just be talking about stuff I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That sentence was weird. I thought maybe we could just talk about Westerns in general.
Yeah.
And I do know a little bit about Westerns, like in the, what was it, the Quick and the Dead episode, which will come out after this. In the Quick and the Dead episode, which will come out, I talk a little bit about how I'm not that big on Westerns, but I know enough. Because my grandparents, on my mum's side, were huge on them, because they're country people,
Yeah.
as I am. And they were huge on it, a lot big John Wayne fans, I think. It was hard to remember. They are ancient.
They are pretty
yes.
old.
Yeah, they're late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They pretty much lived. In Australia, things are a little bit different than America. In Australia, there were parts of the place where people still got around on horses for a long time in the dirt. Lots of dirt roads everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're an uncivilized, uncouth country. But somehow still a bunch of rule-following nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so there's that I didn't know what the fuck I was going to be talking about.
Okay, because I didn't know either, so I was going to let you take the charge on that.
Well, some of the stuff was on the laptop that I couldn't be bothered looking up on the phone. But it would have just been me reading a list of movies I've heard about and want to watch, like Yojimbo, and it's called the Dollars Trilogy.
Okay.
Fistful of Dollars is the first one.
Yeah.
That's one I've seen.
That's more catchy, just saying the Dollars Trilogy.
Yeah. And it's, there's obvious ones like how Seven Samurai influenced Magnificent Seven and all that, but I've seen the original Magnificent Seven, but I haven't seen Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
So,
but you can acknowledge that that there is a common
Yeah. But it's well documented, but I am not the guy.
Yeah.
And you are not the gal.
No, definitely not.
Also, you may notice if you watched the video version of this podcast when it came out 2 weeks. The audio came out 2 weeks ago. But in the last episode, I had a very long head of hair.
Yeah. Now it's gone.
In case you're like, what the fuck? I'm fine. I donated my hair. That's why I was growing it out.
Yeah.
Now, on to box office.
Yep. First thing I want to say, because I found this out just before recording, a podcast, but also a page that we follow on Instagram, Lights Camera Rant, shout out. He posted a video talking about how Barbie has just broken the 33-year record.
Wow.
Of is now the highest grossing comedy. Before that, it was Home Alone.
That makes sense.
Yep. So Barbie is now currently holds the title of the highest grossing comedy.
So there you have it. 33 years ago, the world used to like little boys hurting criminals.
Yeah.
And now we like Barbie.
Yeah. That's like crazy that no comedy in between that.
Comedies don't make much money.
True.
They don't need to make
not
much
in cinema.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. They, like, most good comedies are fairly cheap.
That's true.
The only one that I can think of that probably would have cost a bit of money was like Tropic Thunder. Mm-hmm. Because there's a fair bit of action in that.
Yeah, a lot of explosions.
Yeah. And I think it was very successful as well.
Yeah.
But $1 billion.
Yeah, true. That's a lot. For a comedy.
Yeah. So does that mean that... Is that taking inflation into account?
I don't know.
Because does that mean that Home Alone made like $1.2 billion?
I don't know.
Or is it like with inflation, was it like the amount that $1.2 billion would have been worth back then?
I can check.
You can check. All right. While you do that, I will make my unverified claim that Barbie is the first ever solo female-directed movie ever to make $1 billion.
Wow.
So, woman power.
Yeah. Yeah, girl.
Woo!
I was going to say, yeah, boy.
Get it, girl.
This
is what you come here for. Reading and
it says here,
stuff.
this is on Box Office Mojo,
Yep.
said that all releases of
Mm-hmm.
Home Alone worldwide made 476 million. That can't be right. So
Maybe it is taking inflation into account.
it must have to be, yeah.
But that is, in 33 years, could inflation turn 433 million into 1.2 billion?
476.
So, whatever I said. Whatever you said.
Yeah.
Also, if you can hear that, I apologize. They're construction sounds.
We say this all the time, like,
We've said it, and then people have said to us, don't worry, we can't hear it. And then sometimes it's so loud.
yeah, because sometimes, like, our whole estate, there's houses being
Yeah.
built. Sometimes there's construction, like, down the road, and then sometimes there's literally right next door.
Yeah. I know for a fact that our last Chatty Chat episode, you could hear it. Because when I listened back to it, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
That is loud.
because it's next door.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay,
did you have more Box Office Mojo stuff? The dailies or the weekends or something?
I got the dailies.
Yes.
Barbie's still on top.
Hell yeah, dog.
So this is from Tuesday, August 15th.
Yes, which is American time, so sort of like Wednesday, August 16th for Australia.
Yeah. So Barbie made 6 million that day. Oppenheimer made 3.
Yep, that's good.
Teenage TMNT
Not out in Australia yet.
made 2 million.
Yep.
Meg 2,
Ugh.
The Trench,
Yeah.
made almost 2 million. And then Haunted Mansion made 1 million.
Yeah. I hear that Haunted Mansion movie's not very good.
Yeah, I have no desire to watch that.
Same as the Meg 2, but the Meg 2...
I feel like we'll watch that, just not in cinemas.
Oh, yeah, that'll definitely be when it's on streaming. See, look at that. I didn't say when it's on DVD.
Well done.
I'm not an old man anymore. Despite the baldness, I am not an
As
old
of
man.
right now.
Yeah.
Until next time you say it.
It's just in my bones.
Yeah.
Alrighty. That's pretty much all the news we were going to talk about. The writer's strike and the actor's strike is still happening.
Yeah.
That's fucked. It seems very bad. A lot of actors, big time millionaire actors, have made huge donations, which is good. But it shouldn't be this way. It should be that the studios just go, oh, you want fair pay? Sure.
Which is what A24 did, right?
Yes, A24 made a deal immediately. They were like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
And fixed that. But A24, fantastic. Mm-hmm. They're very, as far as I'm aware, from the movies that I've seen that have come out of that company, or that have been endorsed or whatever the fuck you call it, produced, it's a production company, they're all very creative and good.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they'd care about the actors and I don't know about the writers. I think so, but the actors, yeah.
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 Go them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be the next big thing. And then they'll be evil like Netflix.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Before we move on, just like to remind you, if you enjoy this content, to please like, rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mum, tell your dad.
Yep.
Your dad won't listen to us.
No. Your mum won't either.
Yeah, well, maybe if she's really nice. Tell everyone.
Yes.
Yes. And check out our Patreon. Mm-hmm. We've just updated it. We've got, I don't know if you can see over there, but we've got stickers. You sign up to one of our tiers. I can't remember which one. I think the third one.
I think so.
Yes. And you will get one in the mail. Exciting stuff.
Yeah. So sign up.
Yes.
We're
and
really
plenty of,
selling it.
Yeah, and plenty of other benefits.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel dirty.
Yeah.
Ever
it
since
does
you
feel
told me
weird.
about that podcaster that was like, hey, here's my Cash App. Having trouble paying the bills lately. I just feel dirty.
Yeah.
So, we had nothing to do with it. But it's still just like, that's odd.
Yeah.
But now on to the main part of the show.
Hang on 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one bit of news, I suppose. Stranger Things Season 5 is coming out next year.
Wow.
Woo!
I'm so excited.
And I don't know if a fan made this. I can't remember who posted it, but apparently Eddie's going to be back.
We knew that.
But I don't know who posted the photo. Could have been just a fan one.
They can bring Joseph. His name is Joseph, isn't it?
Joseph
Quinn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was Quinn, but they can bring him back as much as they like.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
I think everyone will agree with you.
That's all I'm going to say. I heard that he got cast as Johnny Storm for Fantastic Four. I'll see it. And Vanessa Kirby is apparently cast as the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm.
Okay.
So there's two very big reasons to go watch that movie.
Okay.
Like those two actors. That wasn't like some weird comment about her breasts. I understand why people may think that. Alrighty. Properly onto the main part of the show now.
Yes.
Westerns and how they've changed.
Yep.
So...
But still kind of stayed the same.
Yeah. So I'm just going to read what author and screenwriter Frank Gruber identified these as the 7 basic plots for Westerns. Mm-hmm. So you've got your Union Pacific story. The plot concerns construction of a railroad, a telegraph line, or some other type of modern technology on the wild frontier. Wagon train stories fall into this category. So basically, taming of the Wild West, dealing with Native Americans, the white man trying to push his way into the land. Any kind of story like that is a Union Pacific story.
Okay.
So it's like, we got to get this work done, and the natives don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
So like Avatar kind of falls into, it's not a Western, but it's like that kind of story.
First thing that comes to mind is Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there is another one that's... I think there was another one. That sort of falls under a couple, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
A lot of that's like a very traditional Western. Like that's like probably like the most.
Yeah.
So it's like we come out here to put our mark down on history and like live our lives, and then the people who are there and the animals and everything that are there are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then chaos ensues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got the ranch story. So this is also Blazing Saddles as well. Ranchers protecting their family ranch from rustlers or large landowners attempting to force out the proper owners. Mm-hmm. So that's like Rango. Mm-hmm. That's like Blazing Saddles. That's like... Well, yeah, I mean, that's those kind of stories.
Yeah.
Basically just... That's a pretty common one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad guys want to get a place. People don't want that to happen. Then you've got the Empire story. So the plot involves building a ranch empire or an oil empire from scratch. A classic rags to riches plot, often involving conflict over resources such as water or minerals. This is one you don't really see as much. I'd say, I guess, like Yellowstone.
There was that one movie we watched where they were finding oil.
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that. That kind of falls into it, but it's more like your modern take
Yeah.
on it, where it's like very much this guy's not real good. Whereas a lot of these type stories, it's like the protagonists are heroes. Like it's good what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of these are your very old school type. Where you've got like an ambitious group sort of thing. Then you've got the revenge story, this is the most popular by far.
That's what I've seen the most.
The plot often involves an elaborate chase and pursuit by a wronged individual, but it may also include elements of the classic mystery story.
Yeah. So that's Django Unchained.
Yeah, Django Unchained. Even a little bit The Quick and the Dead.
Yeah.
It has a lot of intersecting types.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not a Western, but like John Wick is...
Yeah.
Kill Bill follows a lot of that, which that's another one that's very similar to a lot of samurai films as well. Yeah. See, I don't know enough about Westerns. All of the things I come up with aren't Westerns.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But when you think Western, that's like the most common thing that you think of
Yes.
is the revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, going. There was something. We watched that one with Idris Elba. What was that?
The Harder They Fall. Oh, I completely forgot about that. That's good. Yeah.
That's definitely a revenge as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got Cavalry and Indian Story. This is probably the oldest one, I would say, actually. The plot revolves around taming the wilderness for white settlers and or fighting Native Americans. So that one and the Union Pacific story usually go hand in hand because the easiest way to make you like the characters is to be like, well, they're just trying to make a stake on their claim on this land that they just... We're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
But, and then, you've also got like the military side of it. So that's a very like John Wayne type story.
Yeah.
I suppose that's probably more Avatar as well. And is it Dances with Wolves? Which is like Avatar is like space Dances with Wolves. I haven't seen it for a very, very long time.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's Kevin Costner film. And I think like Last of the Mohicans, I think, is that, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I was too young and then just never got around to watching it.
Yeah.
Then you've got, this one's probably more like The Harder They Fall, the outlaw story. The outlaw gangs dominate the action.
Yeah.
So that's still another one that translates over to heaps of other types of TV especially, but movies. Like, it just goes into your gangster films.
Yep.
And then they become a bit more popular.
Yep.
Then you've got the martial story. The lawman and his challenges drive the plot. So I was going to say like True Grit, maybe. Bone Tomahawk is a little bit like that. It's a little bit of that in the Cavalry and Indian Story, but in that, spoilers for Bone Tomahawk, it's not... they're not Native Americans. They're actually... they make a point in the movie to justify it that they're not actually human, that they lived in caves for so long, for thousands of years, that they aren't actually human anymore. And it's about the sheriff of the town going after them.
Okay.
I guess like U.S. Marshals, which isn't a Western, but it's got Tommy Lee Jones in it, is sort of like that. It's like chasing after a guy.
Yeah.
There was another one. I can't remember. Oh, that's it. And then Gruber said that good writers use dialogue and plot development to develop these basic plots into believable stories.
Yeah.
So, essentially, for a traditional Western, you pick one of those and then you make a good story out of it. And you find, like, why you would tell this story.
Yeah.
So, Westerns pretty much just started off as who doesn't love, like, cowboys and Indians,
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that. And then... it's really easy to make, especially for people who do live in the country, it's easy to make movies and TV shows about that because you need like barely any sets and it's easy to be like, it's hard out here in the West.
You just need a lot of dirt.
Yeah, and then people who do live in the country are like, I've got somebody I can like look up to here.
Yeah.
And then... you've got I suppose the Lone Ranger would be a good martial story. Yeah, sorry. Then you've got like your city people who wouldn't know what that's like, who'd be like, hell yeah, woohoo!
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff like that. So yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Works good.
And we were talking about the other day, off mic,
Yes.
like typical Western movie tropes
Yeah.
that are just so common in every movie, like
the clicking of the spurs and like you follow the camera follows them as they walk in.
Zoom in on the cowboy boots. Yeah. Someone walking into a bar and throwing somebody else out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Drunk slurs.
Not race. Well, sometimes racial slurs.
Sometimes,
but
mostly to women.
Yeah. There's usually in movies there's a trope, just in general, called save the cat. So you introduce a character, you have them do a basic, heroic, or even just good deed, like saving a cat out of a tree, to show that they're good. And in a lot of Westerns, the easiest way to do that is have some random guy be like, come on now, darling, come on, sit on my lap, and get a bit like rough with her. And then the hero comes along and goes, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll shuck your corn, motherfucker. I don't know. Say some shit to him and like grab him or have a shootout with him or like stand up to him.
Yeah.
And then it's like they did the most basic good thing that they could do.
Yeah. And there's always horse riding.
Oh, well, yeah. It's Westerns. Like, what were they? Like,
I'm just like
that's not really a trope.
Oh, sorry. More specifically, like coming into a town and walking down that middle strip. Oh, sorry, not walking, but the horse.
Yeah, riding
down
into
that
town.
middle
A lone rider came into town.
Yeah.
And, you know, stuff like High Noon and Jules and, like,
Cliche dialogue.
yeah, this town ain't big enough for the both of us type stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of crossover with, like, gangster films and,
Yeah.
like, typical action movies because for a long time, Westerns is pretty much all there was. Mm-hmm. And then it was all American made. So it was all like, no matter what the main guy did, he was this fucking hero. Like, he was so good. Obviously, it's not like that across the board, but more or less. And then you got what's called spaghetti westerns or Euro westerns, which kicked off with Italy, like Sergio Leone, or Leone, I'm not too sure, with A Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, coming in and showing like that more nuanced approach to like, maybe the guy who comes in and is able to just kill people and doesn't live with anyone else, is like semi-nomadic and kind of a dickhead. Like maybe he's not the nicest guy.
Yeah, maybe he's a weirdo.
And that you can do good things, but you don't have to be an outright hero to do it. Whereas American or US Westerns mythologized that stuff.
Yeah.
And then spaghetti westerns took over, and I think that there's a reason why most of them stand the test of time. Mm-hmm. As I've spoken about previously on the podcast, I used to work in aged care, and I worked in the community, and there was this old couple that I used to go to, and the wife would always be watching John Wayne movies. And
nice.
she was like, they just don't make them like they used to. And I was watching some of one with her, and I was like, they sure don't. They sure don't make white savior movies. Well, that's not true. They don't make that specific type.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, he is the ultimate good in all of his movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen many John Wayne movies, but that's pretty much how it goes. John Wayne walks into town and just settles everyone out. Sorts it all out now.
Yeah.
That's pretty much most of what I had to say. Oh, sorry. We were talking about the timeline. Then spaghetti western sort of killed the western genre. Mm-hmm. I mean, Russia sort of had its own brand, or not just Russia, but like the Eastern Bloc had its own brand, but they would be set in Russia and Eastern Europe. So they would take out like the Western visual elements and be more like just the story elements.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of modern movies and gangster movies still have a lot of those Western elements, but they'll be set in the middle of a city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
like,
is not as cool.
John Wick is your super classic, like, Western revenge story.
Yeah.
It just happens to be set in the middle of a city.
In the city, yeah, instead of the desert.
Yeah. Kill Bill, I think I said before, it's obviously takes inspiration from Westerns and samurai films. Mm-hmm. Django Unchained, it's also Quentin Tarantino, Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, take a lot of those inspirations, takes a lot of those ideas and uses them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then that's why there's not really any Westerns anymore, because there's only so many times you can tell the same
thing,
few stories
yeah.
in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that probably the biggest Western in recent history would have been Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a video game, if you didn't know. And that's very much like, you know, doing evil things, but you're not outright evil, but it's very nuanced, and there's no really like good guy in that, you know?
Yeah. I didn't play the game, so I don't really know, but
I do know that like Tombstone is meant to probably be one of the best, and it was the story of real life. I think it was a marshal. U.S. Marshal. I'm not too sure. Wyatt Earp, which is a very famous real life figure.
is that a game too?
No,
Oh, the movie.
Tombstone. Yeah, with Kurt Russell, and I think there is a Wyatt Earp movie with what's his fucking name? Kevin Costner. Mm-hmm. And there was Wynonna Earp, which is a TV show. She's a descendant of him.
Okay.
Yeah. What's up? You're just not saying much. You actually nodded before.
Yeah, sorry. If you feel like you keep pulling your shirt, but it's tucked under your arm. It's the under your arm part that's tucked.
Nothing's. I just do that just out of habit.
Okay.
Also, The Mandalorian is very Western.
So, but would some of Star Wars be like that too?
Yes, because in Star Wars, and this is going to make a lot of people angry, but Star Wars is basically split down the middle between samurai films and westerns.
That's so true.
Or maybe more like it's 50% samurai films and westerns and then 50% space opera.
Yeah.
Because the Jedi are basically samurais.
Yeah.
And then like your Mandalorians and various other criminals and stuff are very much supposed to just be like gunslingers. Mm-hmm. And like it's the whole thing with the Jedis will be like, I'm not going to use a gun because that's uncivilized.
But they use a sword.
They use a laser
lightsaber,
sword.
yeah.
Nah, I don't know. But yeah, the Mandalorian is very Western. It's just a space Western. So
Yeah.
But there's countless, like, a million billion examples of Western things.
Yeah, because the story you can use anywhere.
Yeah.
But when it's specifically set in the desert like that, then that's what makes it like a proper Western.
Yeah, I think a lot of sci-fi is able to utilize a lot of Western stuff because it can be like, you know, out on the outer rim. Mm-hmm. Those like Firefly and Serenity, those ones, they're very Western-esque type things.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
No.
Anyway, I'm all talked out on that.
Same,
I think it's like the lesson I learned editing the last Chatty Chat was there's only so much talking about something that I can do before I just feel like I'm going insane, especially when you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I have a better idea this time than I did last time.
It feels kind of like when I talk to our kids about something, especially our eldest, because he grasps most of what I'm talking about with things.
And then he just goes, okay.
Yeah.
Or he just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like when I'm explaining movie stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that you and I will talk about, and you'll be able to say, you know, a lot, and even tell me things that I didn't pick up on. Mm-hmm. And then there's other times where I'm talking to you and you're like, okay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope
the
you learned something. Yes, I hope you, listener, learned something along the way.
Yes.
And, yeah. Like now you're, like, you know, your Westerns are, it's all throwbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what did we watch the other week? Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank.
I was going to mention that before, yeah.
Which is an animated samurai film that is like a direct remake of Blazing Saddles, but with cats and a dog.
And not as obviously racist.
Well, it is, but it's the cats being racist to the dog.
I mean, not so obvious. Like, not just straight out racial slurs.
Yeah, but I mean, they replace all of that with the cats bullying the dog because he's a dog.
It's more kid-friendly.
Yeah, so it's like... Yeah, so it's outright racist. Or,
True.
So, but it
they
works.
hide it behind animation and...
Yeah.
This is a kid's movie.
It could have been so fucking good, that movie.
Yeah.
They just needed to change 10 to 20 things, and that movie would have been really good. I think it just... If they had have stuck to being like a proper direct retelling of Blazing Saddles, it would have been so good.
Yeah.
But instead, they also mix in, like, he's learning how to be a samurai.
Yeah.
But if they took that out and kept the, like, Bugs Bunny-ness of the original guy in Blazing Saddles, it would have been so much better because it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, that Blazing Saddles is very cartoony.
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, damn good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying. I just don't want to leave anything on the table. No. There's nothing else I could say that I'd really care about.
Yeah.
It'd more be me listing things that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen F Troop. That's Western-ish.